Hello and welcome back to the Sports Sermon. I'm Dylan Staggy.
I'm Jason Gandhi.
And I'm Dan Majors.
And today we will be doing the next edition of our NBA What's Next. Today we are talking about the Brooklyn Nets, the worst team in the NBA last year, but unfortunately, due to their terrible trade back in 2013, they do not get to see the fruits of that and had to give their number one pick to the Boston Celtics. But this year's draft for the Brooklyn Nets, they do have the 22nd pick, 27th pick, and the 57th pick. So, Jason, who do you think they should take at those?
I think just to sum up the Nets draft strategy, it needs to be best player available. They don't need to hit a home run. They don't need to go boom or bust. They really just need to get best player available and literally just get some guys that will play basketball at a higher than subpar level. They were awful last year. So, at pick 22, there are two guys specifically I look at, but really it's just best player available on their draft board. I like Yvonne Robb and Justin Jackson as guys that could be there at 22. 27, I like Bam Adebayo. A lot of people are having him bubble first round, early second. So I think if you get Bam Adebayo in that first round, getting that guaranteed contract, or somebody like Jordan Bell or Caleb Swanigan, really a good look there at 27. And then looking at 57, once again, best player available. Some people that have been rumored to go that low would be Nigel Williams-Goss, Dwayne Bacon, Devin Robinson, and others. That's kind of what I'm looking at with those three picks. I think they definitely don't want to trade them because they just need to fill their roster in general. Because no free agents are going to want to come to Brooklyn. No one really wants to come play there right now. So they just need to fill their roster with young guys.
Yeah, a guy at 22 I like is Harry Giles. If he's there, but I think they can give him a lot of time to develop. And he was a projected number one pick prior to his injury. And if he can get back to the way he was, then the Nets could have a cornerstone for the future. But at 27, I would take Bam Adebayo or maybe even Jonathan Jean. And then at 57, I'd take Sindarius Thornwell, Dwayne Bacon, or maybe even Jaren Blossomgame.
Something you said at 22 about Harry Giles, my only worry there is that he's pretty risky.
That
and
is
so
true.
you don't want to. I feel like the Nets can't afford to risk. I feel like the Nets need to get the safest pick possible.
I don't know if you go totally safe. I just think whatever their scouts see, whatever the best balance they can find between.
But I mean, Giles is the biggest question mark in the draft. Like, there's no debate there. He is if he's back to himself, he's the number one pick. If he's not, he's late first, early second. He is the biggest question mark in the draft, and that would scare me as the Nets front office because if he doesn't pan out, now your rebuild's taking an even longer year, and they really don't. They're the only team, maybe them and the Magic, that really don't have anything to build around. Like, they have literally nothing.
But I feel like he'd be a great guy to build around.
I agree, but
I don't think you
that
can
risk. In my opinion, that's just my question.
Like,
I don't say yes or no. I'm just asking: is it worth that risk of risking Giles? Because if he's not, now you're like, well.
But do you think you can build around the guys that you said, like Justin Jackson or?
I don't think anyone at 22 or 27 you're trying to build around.
Yeah.
Right.
I think they're solid starters / role players. Someone like a Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance that the Lakers found in that early second, late first, guys that are playing fine. They're not going to be all-stars. They're not going to be all-NBA third teams.
Yeah, but I'm saying for the Nets, I feel like you
need a star.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
I
think if you want that, then trade up. In my opinion. If they really feel like the Nets star, then you've got to trade up.
They don't have anything to trade them.
Brook Lopez. The only asset.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think if he falls at 27.
I think if he falls to the Nets, I'm jumping all over him.
Who, Giles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know if. I don't know. It's hard because if he's there, you almost can't not take him. But it's also logically, do you want him? I don't know. It's a weird way to look at it with Giles because he's such a question mark. You really just don't know what you're getting. Like, he showed flashes of an old self at Duke, but he also was terrible sometimes at Duke. So he's a big question mark.
All right. Well, some of my ideas for both 22 and 27, Bam Adebayo, like both of you guys said. I think Justin Patton, if he's there. Frank Jackson and Terrence Ferguson. I think Terrence Ferguson may be at 27. Again, a guy that you might not want to build around, but if you find a solid guy at 22, maybe take a little bit more of a risk at 27.
I think Ferguson would be there at 22, not 27. I think Ferguson's a higher chance of being there at 22. I saw him at 15 before. So I think if Ferguson's there at 22, I like that. It gives you a shooter because Rodney Hollis Jefferson, he's there, right? So
Yeah.
he doesn't have a shot. I like that Terrence Ferguson pick. I just don't know about 27. At 22, I think that's a great pick though.
All right, well, let's move on to the free agents that make sense for the not the New Jersey Nets anymore, the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, not a team that many free agents are going to want to go to unless they offer them a huge contract. Dan, what are some free agents that make sense for the Nets?
I think some veteran threes, such as like Corver, Ilyasova, Redick. I don't know. I think they'd be good fits for good presence in the locker room. Young guys like maybe Otto Porter Jr., Contavious Caldwell Pope, Shabazz Muhammad. I feel like they'd be great fits to develop as young players.
I actually love that Otto Porter fit. I think I know it sounds dumb, but as the Nets, I would debate throwing the max at Otto Porter because then the Wizards can't match it, almost can't match it, and you're getting a solid guy to go. I'm a big fan of Otto Porter. He's been able to shoot now. I think he's not a max guy to me, but to the Nets, he's a max guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the Wizards might have to pay him the max anyway to keep him.
You think they will? Can
I
they afford that with Wall and Beal? I don't know what their contracts look like.
I think Wall's a little bit cheaper because he did sign a while ago, but Beal's
was last year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be pretty expensive, but I think
You think they'd do it? If you're the Wizards, do you re-sign Otto Porter?
you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. My free agents, it's kind of the same thing I said with the Knicks, where you can look for veterans, like Dan said. I think if you can get some guys at the minimum just to bring that presence, I like that. But to get the most of your cap, I would throw money at Otto Porter, Alex Len, Nerlens Noel, Trey Burke, Tyler Ennis, Drew Holiday. Those young guys that have potential, maybe not have panned out other places, but have that potential to really be a boomer bust. That's where I would go boomer bust in free agency, where you're not really losing that much. Sign Tyler Ennis to a 1-year deal, Burke to a 2-year deal, Len to a 2-year deal. So you're not out $50 million, you're out 20. I don't know. I think that's where you take more of a risk is with those young guys in free agency and hope one of them pans out.
Yeah, I think the problem is with signing some of those young guys to contracts, they might not want that 1 or 2 year contract. They want some big money,
Stability.
especially since they're going to a bad team.
But I'm thinking someone like Alex Len. Why would he not bet on himself with a 1-year deal in Brooklyn where he's going to get so many minutes and just that's just like he wasn't like the 5th overall pick a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like bet on yourself if you're worth that 5th overall pick. Go there 1 year, $12-16 million, and go ball out for a year, and then go get your big money. That's in my opinion. I feel like Brooklyn could be a scenario where guys want to bet on themselves a little bit. Someone like Ryan Fitzpatrick did with the Jets.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. I think definitely the young guys that Brooklyn would want on their side, though, like Jason mentioned, Drew Holiday, Trey Burke, too. I think some shooting guards, Ben McLemore, a boomer bust guy, also a high pick a few years ago. Tim Hardaway Jr., I like. Shabazz Muhammad might not be able to re-sign with the Timberwolves. They might not want him because of their loaded wing position. Tony Snell, another young guy that could be boomer bust. And Jason said Alex Len. Nerlens Noel, they might have to throw the max at him if they want him to come to Brooklyn. But definitely some young guys, boomer bust, and some veteran presence that Brooklyn would have to look for in free agency.
Whatever happened to Shabazz Muhammad? Do you guys remember when he was supposed to be like the dude?
Yeah.
Like, he was supposed to be like the next LeBron. Like he was supposed to be so good. It was him and
Jabari Parker.
Yeah.
Was it him? I thought it was
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins. Yeah.
That was Parker.
Those guys are supposed to be like the stuff.
Yeah.
Like, dang.
Yeah, I mean, Shabazz Muhammad, I think he had some off-the-court issues, and then
Did he?
actually last year, he averaged 10 points a game last year.
Really?
He's recruiting into UCLA and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. I just remember like when he was in high school as a senior, it was like Muhammad's the next LeBron, like Jabari Parker, like Andrew Wiggins. Those guys are supposed to be like so good. Ben McLemore, only thing I remember about him is honestly like he like had a super sick dunk on his birthday. Like that's when I think of Ben McLemore, that's all I think of. Like what has he done in the NBA?
I just think of him as like average shooting guard on the Kings.
Like I always was like, why'd they draft him early? Like, all I saw was a dunk. Like I never like heard anything about him. I was like, why is he drafted so high? I don't know. But yeah, I like those picks for sure. Getting some young guys, but also have like a few years under their belt. I think any of the guys we just mentioned would be good fits for the Nets.
All right, well, let's move on to the trade talk now. The Nets will need to make a trade maybe for Brook Lopez to, again, get younger, get some guys potentially boomer bust, but really just get some picks and start building for the future. Dan, what is your realistic trade for the Brooklyn Nets?
Yeah, I think they obviously need to trade or deal Lopez. I got him trading Lopez to the Suns for the Heat 2018 first rounder and Brandon Knight.
Jason?
Okay, I like that. So Brandon Knight comes in. Is Lynn still there on the Nets?
Yeah.
So okay, so you have
He's
Lynn
there
and
for
Knight,
a while.
and then what was the other one? The Heat first round.
Yeah.
Is it next year's first rounder?
Yeah, 2018.
So Heat. Do you think there'll be playoffs next year? It'll be borderline. So they'll be
Yeah.
14 through 18
Right.
probably. I mean, all right, I see that. I have Brooke Lopez to the Celtics. I think the Celtics give him back their pick. So I think it'll be Brooke Lopez for the 2018 first round and Tyler Zeller.
The
You mean
Nets
the
first
Nets
rounder?
first rounder?
Yeah, like they give their pick back for Brooke
Really?
Lopez.
I
Are
mean,
they
I
giving
would
anything else? Just Lopez?
There's
I would do
Lopez.
that in a heartbeat.
I think
if
the
I was
I think the
Nets.
Celtics. I think the Celtics have realized they need another piece, and so you compare Lopez and Horford. I think they'll get desperate, especially when the Bulls don't throw Jimmy Butler and the Pacers don't throw Paul George at him. They're gonna have to go for somebody because they can't keep wasting Isaiah Thomas's contract. He's gone next year. I think it's more of a desperation trade for the Celtics because they need another player, and I think they're gonna have to give up in the future. They'll keep Markelle, but they cannot afford to draft next year's pick.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, if the Nets had more assets, maybe.
I agree. I mean, if there was more to give, they would, but I
Yeah.
feel like no one really wants to give up that much for it, so the Celtics are going to have to do something.
I don't know. I could not do that if I was the
Danny
Celtics.
Ainge, yeah. I agree. I mean, I think it'd be I think they would know we're not getting the best value, but we have to do the trade. You know what I'm saying? That kind of trade where it's like, we don't really have an
Yeah.
option. We need to get rid of this pick because we need another somewhat star. If there's no Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Gordon Hayward doesn't come type thing. If those come, then it's a different scenario, and there's no need for the forcing of that trade.
All right. Well, my trade it also involves Brooke Lopez. I'm gonna have him going to the Pacers for pick 18, Al Jefferson, and a 2018 second rounder. I think the Pacers win this trade, but the Nets get a old locker room presence, a guy that can play some minutes for them and help develop the young guys. Al Jefferson, an older guy, and I think he could help bring along some of the younger guys on the roster.
You think the Nets would sell Brooke Lopez that cheap for a mid-teen pick and an old washed-up center? I mean, like, not like I'm like, and I'm saying like you're wrong. I'm just like curious. Like,
I mean, just looking at
I don't know what Brooke Lopez's value is. I thought that he'd get multiple first rounders until DeMarcus Cousins went for Buddy Hield in a first rounder.
Yeah.
Once that happened, I feel like everyone's trade value dropped so low.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking. I looked at the NBA draft order and the kind of the mid-teen picks. All those teams had established centers, and I don't think really
Yeah.
needed Brooke Lopez that much. The Pacers are really
I think the
first team.
I think the Blazers could be a sleeper to look at Brooke Lopez.
They can't
Nurkic and
afford him.
Lopez.
There's no way they can afford
Get
him.
rid of Crabbe or Turner. They're trying to shed salary already. Is Lopez's salary big?
$20 million, I think.
I mean, if you can shed Crabbe and Turner for him, I think that's their number one priority. When we get to the Blazers, we'll talk about it. I think shedding Crabbe and Turner has got to be their priority.
Yeah, I mean, if the Nets want to take that, but I mean, that's
They wanted Crabbe. They were the one that made him. They made the Blazers resign Crabbe was because they offered him that huge contract. So I think that's why I was kind of thinking that because the Nets wanted Crabbe last offseason. Now you can get him, trade away Brooke Lopez, and kind of I don't know, there's like a swap there.
okay. I could see that.
Like pick 15 and Alan Crabbe for Lopez.
All right, let's move on to our headline for next season. Brooklyn, not going to be a good one. So, Jason, what do you have?
Mine's pretty simple. Basketball gods, please bless over Brooklyn. It's going to be a long few years for Nets fans. They really don't have anyone to build around right now. They don't have any draft picks. Bless over the Brooklyn fans and just that city. It's going to be a rough few years.
Yeah, mine is the worst possible position to be in. You literally can't be in a worse position. You're the worst team in the NBA. You don't have any young talent to look forward to, and you don't have your first rounders for the next 2 years. They're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
All right, mine is going to be the title of one of Jason's favorite songs
From Bleacher Report. Good
Yeah,
song.
Let It Tank. The song was obviously about Kobe and
Good
the
song.
Lakers. Kobe just giving up on the Lakers in the latter years of his career. But, I mean, that's all the Nets can really do for the next few years. I don't think they could rebuild fast enough to have a decent team. And really, they just got to let it tank, just wait out these next couple of years while they don't have their draft picks and get to the juicy stuff and start getting some good draft picks in 2019
This is
and
like
after.
like the one thing I'm wondering is what if they don't trade Brook Lopez? Then what do you do? Like you're just wasting this guy's career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like now you have Jeremy Lin and Brook Lopez, and you really have nothing for them to do. But like I saw an interview like last week, and Lopez is like, "I'm all in on getting Brooklyn back to the playoffs." Why? Leave when you can. Like I don't understand. Like, is it just us? Or, like, what is there to look forward to in Brooklyn?
I don't know.
Like the Knicks are better than you. The Knicks are terrible.
I think you kind of have to say that for Brook Lopez. I mean,
I mean, you don't have to say you're all in. You could be like, I'm happy in Brooklyn. Don't say you're all in to get him back. You know what I mean? I feel like you could phrase it differently and still say you want to be there when you don't really want to be there. Saying you're all in is not a, I have to say this. That's a, I want to be here. I mean, do they believe in Rondé Hollis Jefferson? He can't shoot, but he's a lockdown defender. But I don't know. It just, looking at that roster, I just don't know what there is to believe in.
not much.
It
All
all
right.
stems from that trade.
Yeah, and speaking of bad trades, let's go into the top 5 worst trades of NBA history. Jason, what do you have at number 5?
I've got Vince Carter, got drafted by the Warriors, which not many people remember. He got drafted by the Warriors, and on draft day, the Warriors traded Vince Carter and money for Antoine Jameson. Don't get me wrong, Antoine Jameson was a good role player. For Vince Carter, and you had to pay them, that was awful. Terrible trade.
5, I've got the Sixers trading Wilt to LA for 3 players I've never heard of: Jerry Chambers, Archie Clark, and Daryl Imhoff.
I only know Daryl Imhoff because he was on my 2K game like a few days ago. So, heard of him. But yeah, that was a terrible trade. Only reason that I would assume it's not higher is because Wilt he was pretty old by then. He started to fall off a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, my number 5, I'm going to go with another old one. The Cincinnati Royals traded Oscar Robertson to the Bucks, and Oscar Robertson with the Bucks led them to a championship, and he was a little bit older by this time, but did lead the Bucks to a championship. So the Royals not getting the good end of that deal.
At my number 4, I went Scottie Pippen getting drafted by the Supersonics, and he got traded for Olden Polynice to the Bulls.
How much
A
would
washed-up center. How good would the Sonics have been, and how bad would the Bulls have been? If you look at Gary Payton, Scottie Pippen, Sean Kemp versus Michael Jordan and John Paxson, B.J. Armstrong, like, that would change the NBA so much. Jordan sure as heck would not have 6 rings.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2, but
Yeah.
there's no way he gets anywhere close to 6 without Pippen.
Yeah.
4, I've got the Hornets trading Kobe to the Lakers for Vlade Divac.
I think you mean one of the greatest trades ever.
Definitely.
I mean, for Lakers fans, I cannot say that was got to be the number 1 best trade.
All right, at number 4, I'm going to go with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for Junior Bridgman, Dave Myers, and Elmore Smith. Kareem going to the Lakers and obviously going on that great run and becoming the number 1 scorer of all time with the Los Angeles Lakers.
At my 3, I have got Dan's boy Dirk Nowitzki for Pat Garrity for Robert Traylor. Many people don't know,
Tractor trailer.
Tractor Trailer. Most guys do not remember that the Bucks actually drafted this young guy named Dirk Nowitzki out of Germany that not many people knew who he was, and yet he turned out to be a top 12, top 13 all-time scorer, something like that.
Yeah, he's up
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Oh, at number 3, I've got the Bucks trading Kareem to LA. What you had, Dylan?
All right, at number 3, I'm going to go with my Clippers making a very bad trade.
There's a surprise. The Clippers made a bad decision.
All
Doesn't
right.
happen very often.
I'm going to say Baron Davis and just an unprotected first round that turned out to be Kyrie Irving for Mo Williams and Jamario Moon. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Mo Williams, but he's not Kyrie Irving. And imagine if the Clippers had Kyrie Irving right now. That'd change a few things too.
Probably still wouldn't get out of the second round. I'm kidding. No, I think. I mean, the Baron Davis part of it wasn't a big deal. He was old. He didn't do anything for the Cavs. But yeah, that Kyrie thing's gotta bite the Clippers front office. That's terrible.
All right, number 2, Jason.
Dan kind of mentioned it. In my opinion, the greatest trade of all time: Kobe for Vlade Divac. Gave us Kobe for 20 years. As a Laker fan, growing up watching him and realizing that he retired last year and he had played more seasons in the NBA than I had been alive. One of the greatest players of all time. Meant more to the city of Los Angeles than most people can make in a lifetime in those 20 years. And really just one of the greatest players ever played in the game.
So number 2, I've got the Jazz trading Kenny Carr, Freeman Williams, Sam Worthen, and New Orleans 1979 first-round pick for Gail Goodrich, S.C. Givens, and Jack Givens. Now, that's 1979 pick. Guess who that would be?
I know who it is. I
All-time
won't
great
guess.
Magic Johnson.
Yeah. At the time, when that trade went down, everyone thought the Jazz were getting a steal in Gail Goodrich. They were like, what are the Lakers doing? Like, why are they not keeping Gail Goodrich? But he was mad about, he had some issues with the front office, and so he wanted to get out, and the Jazz traded him. But a lot of people were not happy about that Gail Goodrich trade in Los Angeles.
Yep.
All right, for my number 2, I'm going to go a little bit more recent. The Oklahoma City Thunder trading away James Harden for Kevin Martin, Jeremy Lamb, Steven Adams, and Mitch McGary.
And cash. Don't forget about the cash. It's important, guys.
But James Harden, obviously, now has become an MVP candidate. Probably going to finish second in the MVP voting this year. Just imagine if the Thunder still had probably the top 3, well, if Katie didn't get injured, the top 3 vote getters for MVP this year with Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and I think KD might have been number 3 if he didn't get hurt for that month.
Yeah, with that being said, though, I mean, I hear that a lot about how James, what if he would have stayed? He would never have been the player he would have been. He would have always been the 6th man, or maybe started, but never really had the star role where he would have never been able to become as good as he did. When he came out of Arizona State, he was looked at as a shooter. He expanded his driving game, which he would not have been able to do with Russell and KD. So I think that trade was better for James Harden. Obviously, it sucked for the Thunder, but a great trade for James Harden's personal career.
All right, now number 1, Jason, who do you have?
I had one you guys already mentioned, Kareem for trash, and more trash. From the Bucks to the Lakers. Give my squad the greatest scorer of all time. Pair him up with Magic, and we got a lot of championships out of him. So that's my number 1 worst trade, but a great trade for Laker fans.
Number 1, I've got the Hawks trading Bill Russell to the Celtics for Cliff Hagan, Ed McCauley, and the 7th overall pick. Now, Russell would go on to win 11 NBA championships with Boston, of course. And if you really think about it, if this trade didn't happen, the NBA might be a lot different than it is today.
Yeah, I mean, without those 11 ships, you're not even hearing about Bill Russell.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only reason people talk about it is because he dominated Wilt in that 11 championships.
Yeah, I mean, even the Celtics franchise, I mean, if they didn't have Russell...
No Lakers-Celtics rivalry, maybe?
Yeah, there's no Bird. I mean, Bird and Magic is still a thing, but there's no... Wow, it's Lakers-Celtics again. Part 2, then Part 3 in 2008. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it changed the NBA so much.
Yeah, and all the championships that they now have, not as much prestige in the franchise.
They don't have that much prestige anyway. The Celtics are so overhyped. They have not won a championship since, 2008, and before that it was, 19... No, it was 2008, but then after that it was, 1985, and everyone they're like, oh my gosh, don't get me started on the Celtics. They're so overhyped. It's the greatest franchise ever. No.
I think that's a little bit of Lakers
They don't
fan
have
bias.
sustained greatness. They went a whole decade now without a championship.
They're on the rise, though.
They're not going to win one. There's a guy named LeBron in the East that's going to stop them every year.
All right. We can have this debate another time. But speaking of the Celtics, I have them winning the worst trade of all time, the Celtics and Nets trade that happened a few years ago. That's giving the Celtics the number 1 pick in this draft and the Nets pick next year for 3 washed-up stars, Paul Pierce, KG, and Jason Terry, who played just a couple years with Brooklyn, the highest paid salary in NBA history, with the Nets the 1 year just to get the 5 seed and get destroyed by LeBron. And
That's what the Celtics are doing now. Hey, it all comes back full circle. Now the Celtics are getting destroyed by LeBron. It's all working out.
I mean, but the Celtics are getting Markelle Fultz and another pick next year, so
Michael Porter Jr. maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
we'll see if that works out even more than it already has in the Celtics' favor. But that's all we've got for this What's Next Brooklyn Nets edition.
Yeah, so make sure you stay tuned for some more of the What's Next series. We've got the Pacific Division coming up as we start with the Los Angeles Clippers. You can assume there will be lots of debate from Dylan and I about the Los Angeles Clippers. Then you look forward to the NFL, and we've got the AFC North Division, starting off with the Bengals, and then we're going into the Steelers. So, yeah, Dan is a Bengals fan, I forgot. So that one will also be probably lots of debate back and forth. So you don't want to miss those. And obviously we'll keep going with the finals recaps as the games get played. And once those conclude, we'll start getting into our NBA draft pre-game prep, including mock drafts, individual big boards, stuff like that. So it's all coming up. Thank you for listening. We really do appreciate your guys' subscribes and likes.
Yeah, thank you for listening. And if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like. And if you want to see the rest of our NBA What's Next series and our NFL season previews, along with our finals recaps, and getting into later this summer with some NBA draft stuff, and even later with some fantasy football stuff. So please subscribe and follow us on Twitter at The Sports Sermon. We'll tweet out every time we post a new video or write an article. So thank you for listening, and we will see you guys tomorrow.